Hey y'all, it's Tyler from O.T.R.Outdoors. We're gonna do our last video on collecting fatwood. As you can see right behind me here, I have our pine tree. What we're gonna do is this bottom limb sitting about right here. We're gonna go climb through this laurel bush over here and cut that off. And that's how we're gonna collect this last type of fatwood. So let me get this camera turned around and we'll get started. Alright y'all, so we can cut that out. This one doesn't look like it's going to have a ton, but it does have a little bit of bow in it. So right here at this bow, there might be a little bit more. So all I did was cut that off, and when you cut it off like that, you want to get as close to the tree as possible so that you get as much of that limb that's sitting off the tree like this as you can. Because right in this, sorry I got a fly buzzing around me, right where this branch connects to the tree is where you're going to have the majority of your fatwood if it's in this limb. Now, like I said, with this having a little bit of a dip in it, there may be a little bit more further up than what it looks like there's going to be on the end. So we'll get this broken down and get into it. Alright y'all, we'll move over in the shade a little bit. After getting into that piece, there actually ended up being no fatwood in that one. It was a little too rotted. So we're going to go scout around a little bit and see if we can find something, and we'll just try this again. Alright y'all, so I'm out in the woods trying to find me a pine tree that has a lower limb on it that I can cut off, so I can show you all the last way to collect your fatwood. As you can see, the problem I'm running into is none of my pine trees in this general area where I'm at, excuse the cars driving by, I'm pretty close to the highway, don't have any lower limbs. So what I'm going to do, I've got this one over here beside me that fell over from this last storm we had. And looking at it, it might have a few limbs on it that would have some fatwood in them. So let me get readjusted. Alright y'all, so if this tree was standing, this limb right here would be a really good limb. So we're gonna get my saw out and cut it off and take a look at the end of it here. Out of the way here. Alright, so I got this split down quite a bit now. It looks like I've got one piece here towards the middle. It's going to have some decent fatwood in it. And y'all, honestly, my preferred method for collecting fatwood is to find a stump. Because as soon as you cut into the stump, you know whether or not it's going to have a decent amount of fatwood in it. And this piece isn't going to be too bad. It's going to be kind of hard to turn into a feather stick because I kind of half broke. Well, there it goes like that. You can kind of see, and I'm not going to try and get this in the frame because it's real small. There's a little bit right here on this piece that's got some good sap in it. Bugs after me. It warmed up quite a bit and the bugs have come out in force. So there you go. Decent bit. I can already see it bubbling. It went out already, but I can already see where it's starting to bubble. It's definitely got the smell. But it's got a little bit in there. It's got enough in there that you could trim this down and definitely get a fire going with it. I mean, it's sticking to my thumb. So that's how you collect fatwood from a limb. Find you a tree that's got a low limb, you cut it off as close to the tree as possible, and then you break it down just the same way we broke down the other two, both the root and the stump. But like I said, the stump's my preferred method, simply because you know you have fatwood as soon as you cut it. So you can go cut 4 or 5 limbs and have exactly what I had, or you can go cut one chunk of a stump off, and you got all you need. Alright y'all, I'm headed back to the house. That's going to do it for part 3 of collecting your fatwood. Like I said earlier, my preferred method is to find a stump. Here at the end of this, I'll show you a little clip of a real large pine stump that I came across back during hunting season that just makes it so much easier than trying to find, oh, walked into a spider web, and trying to find a pine tree that's got a low limb on it, so you can cut it off like I just demonstrated, or the time it takes to dig up a root to get the root ball and get the pine out of it that way. So my preferred method is to find a stump. It's a lot easier, it saves time, saves energy, saves resources. You're not expelling a lot of calories to get into it. Across the creek here. I'll give you all a little view of the creek. So the stump is by far the best way, in my opinion. There are other people that would differ. That makes it a lot easier as far as collecting your fatwood. So that's, like I said, that's gonna do it for part 3. I posted a picture the other day on Instagram about my scouting pack, the one I used today. Hopefully I'll get a breakdown of that video either sometime this evening or tomorrow morning and get it up for y'all. This showed quite a bit of interest of what all is in that pack. So remember, there's always a storm coming. Keep your powder dry, your axe and your knife sharp, and eye on your back trail. We'll catch y'all next time. Well, this is why finding a stump is my preferred method for collecting fatwood. This is a huge, what's left of a pine tree. If you come over here, look at the bark, you can tell it's a big old pine tree. All I did was come over here and tap this piece right here, that big huge piece, and I can already tell the bottom of that is full of sap. This is such an easier method to collect fatwood than any of the other two, because all you have to do is, if you're anywhere where there's pine trees, you're going to find a pine stump. It's just the way it is. It's not hard to find one. Half the time you trip over them when you're walking through the woods. A stump like this, and this is a huge stump, so I mean you can get a ton of fatwood out of this one. Now even with the small one like we used in the first video, it'd be real easy to find a small one like that and just cut right into it. And I only cut a third of that smaller one off.